It is not Washington, but it has its own charm. Our transmission tower is built right into the hay barn down below. We monitor all the usual communication satellites. Now, come over here, Jimmy, and tell me about this Gideon Peak business. Oh, but first, let's have internal monitoring off and switch Effie on, please.
I'm here, Mr. Director. Internal monitoring is off, as you requested. Your telephone calls are being held, and your tea is almost ready.
Good. This is James DeGiorgio, Effie, one of our cousins from the agency. Go ahead, if you would, please, Jimmy. The Gideon Peak thing.
Well, a couple of years ago, we got involved with an astrophysicist named Professor Bronislaw Gregory. He was developing the prototype of a large dehydrator. The thing was supposed to remove all moisture from the atmosphere. Theoretically, it could kill a hurricane or block a monsoon.
Impressive.
Yes, sir. Well, Professor Gregory was out in California on staff at Gideon Peak conducting experiments on this dehydrator cannon.
Cannon, Mr. DeGiorgio?
Right. Cannon.
Don't be distracted, Jimmy. Go ahead.
The damn dehydrating beam went through things. The lab walls, steel, stone, everything. The crazy gadget dehydrated plants, bushes, and trees. And 2 hikers 3 miles away on the next mountain evaporated a lake, too, a whole lake. The thing's incredible.
So, this could be a tremendous boon to mankind, or the perfect weapon.
Exactly, depending on who controls it.
We don't control it?
We did, yes, sir, we did, up until yesterday. And then 7 nuns walked into Gideon Peak at 5 minutes before closing time, and they killed the professor, and they stole it.
Verify, please, Mr. DeGiorgio. You said nuns?
That's right, honey, nuns. People dressed up like nuns. You know what I mean.
And you want us to give you a hand getting it back?
Oh, yes, sir.
What does the president say? Our orders come directly from him, of course.
Right. Well, that's being handled. Jameson's at the White House right now.
If Jameson's already with the president handling this, what brings you to Kentucky?
T.R. Sloan, Mr. Director. We'd like him on this.
Sloan? Impossible. Sloan's on something else.
Oh, he can't be.
Well, I'm afraid he is. Correct, Effie?
Yes, sir, on the Cuba mission. But according to my calculations, he should finish there by tonight.
I see. Thank you, Effie. It appears Mr. Sloan may be free.
Fantastic, I'll tell Washington. And thank you, Mr. Director. And thank you, Effie. Maybe when this thing's all wrapped up, we can, have a little dinner.
Dinner? Mr. DeGiorgio?
I'm afraid not, Jimmy. Effie, why don't we tell Mr. DeGiorgio here a little about your qualifications?
I am an EFI Series 3000 multi-function computer, Mr. DeGiorgio. I occupy 27 square feet and weigh 6½ tons. It would be difficult to join you for dinner, but thank you, Mr. DeGiorgio.
It's a computer.
The voice, of course, is Thomas Sloan's doing.
Ah. We don't have anything like that in Washington.
Well, then, of course, you don't have T.R. Sloan.
Mr. Director. Mr. Director, sir.
Yes?
We just picked up a transmission on the Army intelligence wire, sir. They have found the 7 nuns in Desert Wells, California.
They found them?
What is left of them, sir? Since Gideon Peak is not that far from Desert Wells, shall I alert Thomas?
If anyone alerts him, I will alert him.
Oh.
What is O supposed to mean? As I've said before, Effie, this thing you have for Sloan has to stop. He's just not romantically interested in a 6-ton EFI. I'm telling you this is a friend, Effie. Now, put on that Army transmission.
Yes, sir.
All right. I will bishop to Queen's Rook 3.
And King's Knight takes Queen's Bishop.
3 minutes. You have 3 minutes to make the move, Effie. Have the good sense not to shriek at me before I even have the timer set.
Was that a shriek, Mr. Director?
Of course it was a shriek. Don't get snippy with me. You weren't programmed to be snippy. Heaven knows where you get it.
Sorry, sir. Mr. Director?
Mm-hmm?
Thomas is putting a tape through from Gideon Peak.
Oh, Sloan. I'm afraid we'll have to forget this game. Start another when we're finished. Put him on.